let's have a conversation about consciousness. So, Ryder, what's the human experience? What do you think it is?
Well, that's an interesting question. And see, I think that we're a species of amnesia, right? We don't know where we're from. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we're doing here. And that's a big issue. That's a really big problem because it's created a lot of other issues, within us as a species. And because whenever you ask somebody, Gloria, if I were to ask somebody, I'd be like, hey, who are you? 9 times out of 10, they would probably say, they would tell me their name, they would tell me where they're from, what they do for a living, who their parents are, all of these different things, and maybe their birth date and all that. But that's not who they are. That's the projected, those things have been given to them as a part of, this construct that we're in, like it seems like whenever we're born, we're given an identity.
Yeah.
Right? And then that identity, we're constantly trying to prop up that identity our entire lives. Not even realizing that that identity is fake.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't go deep into that, and they don't try and figure out who they are on a spiritual level, because I believe that we're multi-dimensional spirit beings, right? We're spirit beings here having a human experience.
Yep.
We're spirit first, and then we're human second.
Yep.
This flesh body is basically an avatar for us.
Yeah. Brilliant word. Avatar. Brilliant. I have a similar truth. I always say it's like I'm a conscious being or spiritual being having a human experience. And what I do, working with others as well, I deconstruct that, which you've just touched on, the deconstruction. What does it mean when we give lip service? Oh, I'm a spiritual being of love and light. I'm having a human experience. Yeah, you're smiling. Having a human experience. Well, that needs to be deconstructed. You've already touched on the second question, from what is a human experience to the second question, who am I? And I feel through the deconstruction of that statement, we can come a bit closer to finding out the truth of ourselves. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. And a lot of people, they use these catch-all phrases. They'll be like, yeah, we're multi-dimensional, we're spirit beings, we're love and light, and all the while having no idea what any of that actually means.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's a big issue that I've seen in a lot of the spiritual and the new age community. And I don't use any labels. Like, I'm not affiliated with any labels. I don't label myself as anything. I'm trying to figure out my own path and my own journey. And I feel like when you bring labels into something, you label yourself a new age person or blah, 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 then you're getting sucked into like a category, right? And whenever you get sucked into a category, you have to kind of only work within those parameters of that category.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then when anybody steps out of that category, they're like, oh, well, that's not right. You can't do it that way. You know what I mean? So it's like, I try and not bring any kind of labels or any kind of things to my show or what I do or what I talk about, because I feel like that's super important. But back to your question. So yes, I believe that we are multi-dimensional spirit beings, meaning that because the layers of our reality are stacked upon each other, right? They're not separate. Past, present, and future are not separate, right? They're on top of each other. They're coalescing into one moment, and that moment is now, right? And just like past, present, and future being stacked on top of each other, all of the other dimensions and alternate realities and parallel universes are also stacked on top of each other. There's a very thin veil that's separating us from the 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, and however far up you think that it goes. Some people think that it goes up
wonderful analogy there. I love it. I love it. So how do we navigate, from your truth, how have you navigated? I mean, you've already described what we're not. So it's a whole point of deconstruction. Well, I'm not that. I'm not my beliefs. I'm not my ideas. I'm not my concepts, and blah, 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 and all the way. So we start deconstructing that. So the next stage is, who am I? Well, I believe I'm a multi-dimensional being. I concur with that one. What does that mean? I mean, as a human being, when you're trapped in the limited human expression of consciousness, just the human, as I said the other week, it's like a juxtaposition. You can go human or consciousness, but when you're trapped in the human consciousness, who am I? I'm limited. I can't do this. I can't do that. I fear that. So we got that. We push that to one side. So if we go to the other juxtaposition, which is consciousness, that you're a multi-dimensional being, what does that mean? What does that mean to be a multi-dimensional being, Ryder?
To me personally, Gloria, it means that we exist on every level of reality, right? That we not only exist here in the 3D, but we also, a version of us exists in the 4D, a version of us exists in the 5D, the 6D, the 7D. Every single reality that is out there, we have a version of us inside of it.
Yeah.
And that's the multidimensional aspect of us as individuals, and we just don't know it. And we're not able to fully tap into it because, again, we don't know. First off, a lot of people don't even know that these other dimensions and these other realities even exist.
Yes.
Right? So first off, if they don't know that they exist, then how can they even tap into them? And then whenever they know they exist, it gets really, it's not really that complicated. It's just the awareness, bringing the awareness that we do exist in all of these different realities. See, I'm from the personal belief that every decision that we've ever made actually creates a different kind of timeline. And there's a version of us that is out there living that timeline, meaning that there's infinite amounts of timelines.
Yes, I'm in total agreement. There's different terminologies to describe it. We're all on the same experience, but we experience it differently. I just say that the Homo sapiens sapien consciousness is so fractalized, it's unbelievable. It's just like multiple. As soon as you change a truth or make a choice, I'm not that and I'm not doing that, it's gone. But that one is there. That experience is there, but you shifted. So the consciousness has shifted and can at all places, at all times, experience all things in the now, one time. However, at one point, we would say the Homo sapiens sapien was aware of only one, the limited consciousness. But now, Ryder, we are fully aware. The Homo sapiens sapien is becoming aware of multiple consciousnesses. And this will lead us to the next part of what is reality, where we can say experiences become aware of this through experiencing. So, for example, if you've been in an experience of outer body, or if you've been in experience of contact with other dimensional beings, been on a craft or anything like that, the limited conscious Homo sapien being, their reality starts to shatter, like someone's smashed the glass. It starts to fragment because you've actually experienced something outside of this reality. So it brings up quite paradoxal in most cases because the mind can't get the head around is, well, if it can do that, what is this reality? Is it an illusion? Because I thought this reality was a truth, that, the brick wall was a brick wall. Hello, I've just floated through the brick wall, or does that make sense to you, Ryder?
Yes, it does. And I do think that this reality that we're currently in is an illusion,
Mhm.
and that we are in and the only reason that anything is solid, the only reason this table right here is solid, the only reason that the wall is solid is because we've all agreed upon the fact that it's solid.
That's the reality we chose before. We agreed to it. We chose. It's choice. We chose.
A collective choice that we've all bought into, a collective belief, because there really isn't anything more powerful than our belief in something.
Yes.
And that's how the dark side and a lot of the controllers, the parasite consciousness works in our reality is through belief. And if they can get you to believe in something, then it doesn't matter if what they're trying to, it doesn't matter if it's real or not when they've gotten you to believe in it.
Yeah. I mean, they're experts. I mean, we're just touching them slightly. They're experts. They're totally aware of the consciousness and what it means to be a conscious being. And they've chosen to go that way. That's their experience. That's fine. But they are experts on psychological manipulation. Even to the extent if something ridiculously nonsensical, like what is the sex of a tuna sandwich, something like that, people will believe it. Yes. And off it goes. Okay. So there is obviously the polarities. To come here and have a human experience, you need polarity. Okay. We need polarity. The polarity is there for a reason. And that's demonstrated by what we can label the awakening or whatever, ascension, or knowing thyself, thy true self, that I am not the limited human being that gets up, goes to work all day and just dies one day and gone. Yeah, I'm more than. They are fully aware of that. That is how they use what the law of attraction. People misconstrued what the law of attraction is. Just energy. What you put your attention on. They're masters, they're PhDs. However, there are singularity consciences like Ryder and Chris Matthews and others, and that are coming up and saying, hello, I'm here. And this is where we are now. Okay. The reality that we are creating now, I have a very paradoxical question following what we said earlier on about the different timelines. The reality, I was asked this question. So if I make a different choice now, Ryder, and choose to go that way, what happens to everybody I know on that way? And you know what? From the mouth of children comes these complex, like, you are? I never thought of that. What do you think happens? Because I do hear these theories, and I don't follow other people's theories, but I'm heard of like two worlds and two this, and what do you think happens? I'm now going to.
Are you referring to like the 5D split, like the New Earth split?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't really believe in that. There's a lot of people have been pushing that whole thing,
yes.
And I don't think that it's going to be anything like that. And they're talking about it as like an ascension, and that's yes. Not the way that it's going to work. The true and real ascension isn't a physical ascension. No, it's a after death ascension.
I had to bring that question up, not to look biased, to give it some, conversation.
Yeah.
But then to bring it up and then to break it down, it's not physical. That's what it is not a physical ascension. It is a spiritual.
I mean, think about it, Gloria. We're the perfect human being that's ever been created.
Absolutely.
Right. We're a fragment of source. We're a fragment of God. Right. Whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
We're here having a human experience.
Yeah.
Why would we need an upgrade?
No, we don't need an upgrade.
We don't need an upgrade. We're perfect the way that we are.